when you're not communicating face to face.
Did you just put the ring on, or are you in the first few years of your marriage? Welcome to the First Year Marriage Show, a podcast dedicated to helping newlyweds navigate the first few years of marriage. My husband, Marcus, and I will be sharing marriage tips to help you build a strong foundation for your marriage. We believe having a strong foundation is essential to having a happy, healthy, and lasting marriage. We will also be learning from the experiences of awesome married couples who have been where you are today, taking from them lessons to help you build a strong foundation for the lasting marriage you desire. Take a deep breath, relax, learn, and enjoy the show. Thank you for listening to another week's episode of the First Year Marriage Show. We're very grateful to have you listening this week. We hope you had a great Easter, Passover, whatever you celebrate weekend. For all the show notes for this week's episode, visit firstyearmarriage.com/29. Have a wonderful week and enjoy this week's story.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to this week's episode of the First Year Marriage Show. I am your host, Marcus Kusi, and our guests for this week are Mike and Monica Louie. Mike and Monica live in Vancouver, Washington. They've been married for 5.5 years, and they have 2 energetic kids. Mike is a law enforcement officer, and Monica blogs online at debtfreefamily.com, where she helps people take control of their money so they can pay off debt and work toward true financial freedom. Mike and Monica, thank you guys for coming on to the show today.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Can you guys tell us a little bit about yourself and what you guys do?
Yeah, my name is Mike, and I work in law enforcement, and when I get home, I take care of the kids.
Yeah. So I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I blog at debtfreefamily.com. And so my days are filled with playing with the kids and, running errands and keeping up the house. And then when Mike comes home, he plays with the kids so that I can work on my blogging. And then we try and do dinner and evening family time together.
That sounds like a really good plan that you guys have figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been working out.
Yeah.
So I always ask our guests this question, and that's almost like the first question I ask them. How did you guys meet?
We met at my cousin's graduation party, and we were just hanging out, and she was sitting on the couch at my uncle's house, and me and my brother were playing pool, and she was right there, and I thought she was very cute, and I just kept glancing at her.
And my take on that was, I remember that very clearly because I was having fun. It was my friend's, it was her college graduation party. So I was, I think 22 or 23 at the time. And I just remember seeing him looking at me, and he's Asian, he's Chinese. And so he looks very young. And I remember thinking, why is he looking at me? He's like 15. But then come to find out, he was actually a little bit older than me when we actually started talking later. So it was funny.
So after you guys met and you got to know each other a little bit, how did you know, okay, this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with?
I think we both knew pretty quick. When we got together, he had just found out that he was going to be leaving the state to go to training for his job. And he was going to be there for a few months. And so we just decided that we wanted to, continue the relationship when he was away. And so we tried long distance, even though we had just gotten together.
Yeah, and long distance was a little bit hard for us at sometimes because any long distance relationship, when you're not communicating face to face, it does some of the stuff gets lost in translation,
Yeah. And so we actually did long distance. I think it was kind of off and on, but it totaled about 12 months. And then when he moved back, we had been talking about getting engaged. And so when he moved back, then I kept waiting for him to propose. And I kept waiting and I kept waiting. And then he asked me to go hiking. We did a lot of hiking together at the time. And so he asked me to go hiking, and we usually would invite friends to go with us. And he made it a point to say, can we just go the two of us? And so I thought, okay, he's going to do it. He's going to do it when we're hiking. And so we went hiking, and I remember he's really physically fit. He's always been very fit. And I was determined to get to the top because I thought, okay, at the top, he's going to propose. I was not as physically fit. And, but that day I acted like I was, and I was determined to get to the top as quickly as possible so that I could, get the proposal going, or so that he could get the proposal going. But he kept, he was on his phone, and he kept saying, oh, I need a break. My knees are hurting. And I was like, what is going on? This is not like him. I was like, come on. And so I kept pushing along, and why don't you take over?
Yeah, so eventually we made it to the top, and this was the looking over the gorge. It's like this, you get to the top and you can see the river down below. So it was a perfect view. And so we get to the top and we kind of look around. And in the meantime, I'm actually texting my buddy because he was helping me set up.
Oh.
And so that's why I was stalling.
So we're looking at the view, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to turn around and he's going to have a ring. And so he went off somewhere. He said, I'll be right back. So he ran off somewhere, and he comes back and he says, okay, you ready to go? And so like, you ready to head back down? And so I thought, oh man, I was wrong. So we start going, and I start following him, and he's kind of like going really fast. And I'm like, what is his hurry? And I'm all disappointed that I didn't get, proposed to.
And so when we're walking down the trail, like we're leaving out, I just said, hey, I've never gone down this way. Let's go down this direction.
Oh, no. I was like, he said he wanted to check out this other trail or something. And I was like, what? Okay. And so we started going down this other trail, and then he was going, and he was leading me and like going really fast. And then finally I was like, do you even know where you're going? And then he turned around, and he has this rose in his hand that he had picked up from the floor or from the ground, this beautiful red rose. And he hands it to me, and he says, yeah, just follow the roses. And so I look past him, and I see that the trail is lined with these roses. So then I knew that he was going to be proposing. And so I picked up the roses, and we went along, and then there was this beautiful layout of a red blanket and a picnic set up with a bottle of wine and a beautiful view. And it was very, very
secluded.
Yeah, secluded and very private. It was this perfect little viewpoint, and there was nobody else around. And so then he pulled out the ring and got down on one knee and asked me to marry him.
Wow. That's a really exciting and very, very beautiful proposal. I can just imagine the tension going on in Mike's body and the tension going on in your body also. But I think Mike, you did a lot of homework and did a lot of planning.
Yeah, I had to definitely get some help from one of my buddies.
Yeah, it worked out really great. It's a really great memory.
Yeah, I can definitely relate with that, because with proposals, sometimes as a guy, you are short of things that you want to do, but once you talk with your body, you can tell, hey, do this, do that, and then you come together and you're like, okay, this is what I think we should do, that she's going to love, and then you do that, and everything goes really smoothly for both of you.
Yeah.
So after you guys got married, I know with the first year, there are a lot of things that could go wrong. There are a lot of things that could go right. There are a lot of emotions and things involved in that first year. In one or two words, how would you guys describe your first year of marriage?
I can describe it as adventurous, because our honeymoon, we went to Barcelona. We like to do a lot of outdoor stuff, hiking. I like rock climbing, and Monica came along, and she was a good sport.
Yeah, I tried it.
She tried it also. Very adventurous for me.
For me, it was I think exciting, because I had always dreamed about, marrying the man of my dreams and starting a family and buying a house together, and just, it seemed like everything was falling into place. And so it was very exciting. Just, the whole new beginning. It was a very special time in our lives.
I can see that you guys had two different views, but being able to have an adventurous first year and an exciting first year means you were both able to enjoy your first year together.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Definitely.
So while you guys were enjoying that first year together, what are some of the adjustments that you guys had to go through that you think our listeners will really learn a lot from?
Well, one more memorable things I remember was learning her like taste palette,
Taste palette.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mike grew up in his family restaurant, and so he's always been the cook in our relationship, because he really enjoys cooking and chopping and prepping, and I was never as comfortable in the kitchen as he was. So he's kind of taken over that role for most of our relationship. And so when we got together, I remember he served me fish one night, and I took one bite, and I just was kind of shocked, and it was really spicy for me. And I was like, what? Doesn't he know that I don't like spicy food? I thought he would have already known this already. And so I looked at him and I said, what did you put on this? And he had this blank look on his face, and he thought about it. He was trying to think about it. And he was like, I don't know, pepper? And it was just black pepper that he put on. But anyway, my taste has changed. I've gotten better with handling spicy food.
Yeah, it was just perplexing to me that anyone would think that black pepper was spicy.
Yeah, I think it all depends on the family or the way you're brought up, because I know in some homes they don't cook with spicy ingredients, and in others they cook with spicy ingredients. Like where I'm from, like we cook with a lot of spices, and my wife wasn't used to cooking with a lot of spices, especially the spicy ones. So I had to learn how to adjust to, okay, if I'm making the meal, then I have to put in X amount of quantity, so she'll be able to eat it also.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. We had to adjust with that. And so my tolerance has since grown, but at the time I was not used to spicy food.
That's really good.
But also I would say just, learning each other's habits and establishing a routine, and, communication is constantly something that we're working on. But I think, especially in the first year, you say something and your spouse takes it another way, or you have a misunderstanding in something, or your background just allows you to interpret something differently, and so we've had to work on talking things out calmly and trying to see things from the other person's point of view, and that's something that we're constantly working on.
Yeah, I know communication is one of the big issues in marriages, and it's something that even if you've been married for over 50 years, it's something that you're still going to have to deal with, because you're always communicating. You have to be able to present your thoughts or whatever you're feeling across to your spouse, so they can understand what you're trying to get across to them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Talking about the habits that you guys had to make changes to, can you guys each share one habit that you had to change in order to live together as a married couple?
I think he had to adjust to the fact that I take longer to get ready, where he would take, 2 to 5 minute showers, and I would take much longer showers. And so he was always, waiting for me to get ready. And so he kind of had to adjust to that. And then I have tried to, speed up my getting ready time over the years. And so just, the routine of who's going to do what. And so in the morning, so we started off our marriage by carpooling together, because we both worked in downtown Portland. So we would commute together. And that was really great, because that gave us extra time in our day to spend with each other. So in the mornings, our routine became, he would get up and shower and be ready in 5 minutes. And then he would pack our lunches and I would get ready.
Yeah, and that was a pretty big adjustment now that I think back to it, because I'm pretty used to showing up to events or whatever, probably about 15 to 20 minutes early. And that time kind of got cut down to being on time,
So Can you guys walk us through like a struggle or some challenges that you guys had either in your first year or in your first few years of your marriage?
Well, one of the biggest challenges that we faced together was just a few months after our first year anniversary. We had found out that I was pregnant, and then right at that same time, my mom got sick, and so she was in and out of the hospital for a few months, all during my pregnancy and when we had our son. And when he was about 15 months old, then my mom passed away. And just going through that, I mean, was, stressful and a difficult time for me, but also, I mean, it was, I think, stressful in our relationship. It was a lot of, aside from, having a child and, adjusting to parenthood, we also were, being there as a huge support for my mom because we were her only family in the area. So as she got sicker and sicker, we decided to move her from Salem, where she was living, to our town in Vancouver, which is about an hour and 20 minutes away. And so Mike was, super supportive and helped pack up all her stuff and helped move all her stuff and set everything up. And just going through that, it was so great to have his support. I mean, looking back and when she passed away and then, cleaning out her apartment and everything, I just couldn't imagine having to go through that by myself.
It's very, very difficult going through those moments, especially when you lose a loved one like your mom or your parents or your sibling or someone that you were really close to. Like, I know how it is because I lost one of my closest friends when I was around 14 years old.
Oh, wow.
And up to this day, like, it's something that, when I hear someone has lost someone dear to them, I feel that empathy because I know what it feels like to lose someone. It's not something that is easy at all. And coupled with you guys going through the emotions of being new parents, which has its own challenges and struggles, and getting your feet down as a married couple and learning to know more about each other, it's something that is not easy to go through at all. Yeah,
it's definitely one of the hard times, but I'm so glad that he was there to help me deal with everything.
Mike, you did a great job of being there because a lot of people are not able to go through experiences like that. But having a support and being that person who can support someone while they're going through that experience or that period of their life, it's something that I think you did a great job doing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm the type of person who just always wants to be there for my wife and kids. It was well worth it.
Yeah. Was there any other struggles that you guys went through at all?
One of the biggest challenges that we've been working on is tackling our debt. And we didn't really realize that our debt was an issue until we became parents. And then I started I started having the feelings of wanting to stay home with our son so that I could spend more time with him and he didn't have to spend as much time in daycare. But just financially, it wasn't possible for us to do that. And eventually, Mike got a promotion at work, and then we were able to transition to me staying at home. I started by working just part-time, and then after a year of working part-time, I started staying home. And by that time, we knew we were pregnant with our daughter. So once I started staying at home with our son, a couple months went by and we realized that even though we were, watching our spending and trying to be careful and not, spending money on frivolous things, that our savings was starting to go down in our account. And so we knew we had to be more intentional than we had been with our spending. So I started studying personal finance and trying to figure out how we could be smarter with our money. I started listening to the Dave Ramsey show, and I got Mike listen to the Dave Ramsey show, and there was this couple or this young family on there that was very similar to ours. They had 2 young kids, about the same amount in income, and they had gone on the show to announce that they had paid off all of their debt, including their mortgage. And that just seemed unreal to me. I mean, we had always kind of talked about paying off our debt early, paying off our mortgage early, but we felt like that would be years down the line when, our income was greater, or we had just some imaginary I don't know, feeling of someday when we were making a lot more money, then we'd pay off our mortgage early. And so since this family had, was in a very similar situation to ours, I thought, wow, what could we do if we didn't have, if we weren't paying thousands towards our debt every month? So I talked to Mike about it, and he'd always been very frugal and very good with his money, about saving and not racking up debt or anything. And so he jumped on board. He really liked the idea.
Yeah, and so I started listening to the Dave Ramsey show also, and it got me excited. We both kind of played off of each other, and we decided to make the effort to pay off our debt as fast as we could, just like that family.
Yes. So we decided that our goal would be to pay off our debt and everything, including our mortgage, by the time we turn 40. So that's about a little over 6 years from now.
Have you guys been using the Dave Ramsey plan, like, I wouldn't say religiously, but strictly? Or do you guys try to work things out in a way that will help you guys to work together? Because I know with some couples, even though they want to follow the Dave Ramsey plan, one spouse might be like, okay, I want us to follow the Dave Ramsey plan. And another one will be like, okay, I like his plan, but I don't think we should follow it. We should follow a different plan. Like, what was it like for you guys?
Well, we decided to do the snowball method, the debt snowball method, which is what he recommends. And that really worked for us because the debts that we had at the time was Mike had, well, our student loans totaled just under $38,000. And so Mike's student loan was our smallest debt, and that was at $13,000. We didn't have any car loans at that time or credit cards. So his student loan was $13,000. That was our smallest debt. Our biggest debt, that aside from the mortgage, was a home equity line of credit, and that was $52,000. And that just seemed like such a huge number that it just didn't seem attainable. But focusing on the $13,000 student loan was more manageable. We could wrap our brains around paying that one off quickly. So that's what we focused on. And then once we paid that one off, we worked on my student loan, which was, I think,
28 or so.
27, 28, somewhere in there. And so we got that paid off. And then now we're working on the home equity line of credit. It was $52,000, like I said, and now it's down to less than $10,000. So we've paid off since August of 2013 when we started. We've paid off almost $87,000.
Wow, that's very, very impressive.
Thank you. We're really excited.
You guys are rocking it.
Yeah, we've been really intense about it. We've been selling things left and right, and just we've been budgeting and tracking our spending and figuring out where we can cut expenses and save money here and there, and just so that we can throw anything extra towards the debt.
Yeah, I highly recommend couples going through that program, even if you don't want to follow it to the T. It's something that when you go through, you'll know that, okay, I didn't waste my time. I learned something that I can actually apply in my life that will help me improve my finances also.
Exactly.
And also working on our money together, it has strengthened our bond for our marriage, just because you're constantly communicating with each other about finances, and that gets you more comfortable about communicating about other things.
Definitely.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, well, I was going to just say, like, working towards a common goal like that, it definitely, it makes me feel like we're more of a team. We're definitely working together, on how we can reach this big goal, but we're doing it together, and then we have to work together in order to make it work.
I'm glad you guys were able to go through the program, and we follow his principles, but we don't follow it to the T.
Yeah.
Like right now, I was in college, so we put off paying debts because I was in college, and it wasn't feasible for us to focus on paying on debt. So we just decided, okay, let me just work on getting out of school. And once I'm done with school, I get a job, and then we start working on our debt.
Right. And we kind of put our payoff plan on hold. While I was pregnant with our daughter, we were saving, but just in case, there was some kind of complication, and one of us had to, be in the hospital, and we had, medical expenses that were, not expected. We saved up what we could during that time. And then once she was born, once we were all healthy and we felt it was safe, we made a big payment. And that's when we were able to pay off my student loan. But we haven't followed it to a T either, because we haven't stopped contributing to his retirement plan through work, because he gets a match up to 5%. So he's been putting in 5% to get that match, because that's free money, basically, that we just didn't want to, not get during this time.
Yeah, everybody loves free, so.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Talking about free, what are some of the funny, exciting moments that you guys had during that first year that I want to share with our listeners? They're going to have a free laugh.
Well, you want to talk about Jaden? About describing his little sister?
Well, this wasn't during the first year, but just the other night, our daughter is her hair is growing out, and we haven't cut it yet. She's almost 16 months, and so her hair is getting longer, and it's kind of crazy. She's got a little wave to it, and it was sticking out side to side yesterday. And Jaden just announces to us that Madeline looks like a yak.
What is a yak?
A yak is this big, hairy,
It's kind of like a buffalo type of animal, but the hair is all over its face.
Yeah, and it's just like wild hair with these big horns. And so Mike pulled up a picture of a yak, and sure enough, that's what her hair looks like. It's pretty funny. It was just funny that he thought, that to associate her hair with a yak.
So apart from this funny moment, during that first day, was there any other funny moments or experiences that you guys had that when you look back to that first year, it puts a smile on your face?
Well, in Barcelona, one of the funniest things that we experienced, which was kind of weird to us, it was like one of our last weeks in Barcelona, and we were walking down the street, and Monica, I wasn't paying attention to people walking across the crosswalk, and she nudges me and kind of like gets my attention to look down at the people. And there's this one guy walking down the crosswalk completely nude and holding a briefcase. And he looked like he was going into work.
Oh my gosh.
He was completely nude with sandals on.
Yeah.
And it looked like, to everyone else, no one was looking at him like it was a normal thing for him.
Yeah, everybody else was just like dressed like they were going to work, and here he had his briefcase like he was going to work too, but just wearing his birthday suit.
Wow.
It was kind of funny.
I've never imagined someone going to work in his naked suit before.
Yeah, I don't know, but I tried not to have big eyes too much.
Yeah. You guys mentioned the Dave Ramsey show and his FPU class as one of the resources that has helped you guys in your marriage. Was there any other resource that helped you guys or that you guys think has really impacted your marriage?
I think that was probably one of the biggest resources. I know Monica read a lot of books from other financial people, and it didn't seem as helpful, but the Dave Ramsey plan was very laid out, and it was structured, and it was easy to follow.
Mm-hmm. But I've also read like marriage books like Love and Respect and the 5 Love Languages. And that's been really helpful in just understanding his point of view more, and, understanding his love language and understanding more about my love language too. Just acknowledging what it is, has helped.
I think the 5 Love Languages is probably the best marriage book out there, because when you read it, it gives you a completely new view about how you should relate with your spouse or talk to your spouse or meet their needs so they feel loved and they feel happy to be married to you.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah.
What is one lesson or advice that you guys wish you had known before you got married?
Oh, I definitely think that I wish we would have joined forces on paying off our debt as soon as we got married, just making that a big focus. I mean, before we had kids, when we had 2 incomes, I think, we would be a lot farther along on our goal right now. And, we would have been able to pay off more debt even quicker having 2 incomes. So I wish we would have started that sooner.
So Mike and Monica, thank you guys very much for coming on the show today to share your story with us. I know you've shed a lot of light into how you guys dealt with your debts and how you dealt with your mom passing away. And 1 or 2 things about your first year that our listeners are going to enjoy, and myself, we can also apply in our marriages. If we want to get in touch with you guys, what is the best way that we can get in touch with you? And if you have any resources that you want to give to our audience, can you please let us know about those also?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having us on. If you want to follow more about our journey and how to apply it to your life to take control of your money and get out of debt, you can visit our blog at ourdebtfreefamily.com. And if you go to ourdebtfreefamily.com/FYM for first year marriage, I have a free gift for your audience. It's a checklist for a strong financial plan. And it's just a checklist of everything that your financial plan should include to make sure that you're covered and can be working toward true financial freedom. But I can also be reached on Twitter at Monica R. Louie and on Facebook at Our Debt Free Family. And I'm on Pinterest and Google Plus as well.
Listeners, I'm going to put all of these links to all of these resources and contacts in the show notes for this episode. So just go to the show notes and you should be able to get access to all the free resources and everything that Monica and Mike are willing to share with us. Monica and Mike, thank you guys for giving us this free resource. I know it's going to help a lot of couples who are going through financial situations or difficulties or are looking to improve their financial situations and also improve their marriage.
Well, thank you so much for having us. This has been really fun.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the First Year Marriage Show. To submit a question, feedback, or suggestions for the podcast, visit firstyearmarriage.com/feedback. Apply what you've learned today and build a strong foundation for the happy, healthy, and lasting marriage you desire. Enjoy your marriage. Enjoy your life.